Ooh, that's a big fish. That's a big fish. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, baby. Big old trout. Big old trout. We put the net on this one. We gotta put the net on this one, guys. Walk him on in here. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. All right, what we doing here today is we fishing right in the heart of the spawn. We still got some fish down here on the trestle. I'm gonna talk to you guys about the good areas that they like to focus on the spawn. And one great bait when these big monster trout are spawning, this is their favorite thing to eat, croaker. That's the X-Shad croaker. They say that trout eggs get eaten by croakers and they hate them. So we made an X-Shad that looks just like a croaker, and this big girl here got fooled. That looks like one of the males. These fish are either running in that 3 to 4 pound range, or the males. Yep, I can feel this one grunting. Not sure if you can hear that, but I can feel the vibration of my hands. That's the males that do the grunting. I figured that was the male. The males are typically going to be smaller. So you'll be, when it's spawning season, you catch that 14-incher, that's a male, and your very next cast, you catch a 20-incher, that's usually a female. That's it. Louisiana spawning in a nutshell right there, when you go from a 4-pounder down to a 1.5-pounder, and they mix in together. All right, so where we're fishing right now is all the way down on the north end of the trestle. Two of my favorite areas if you're gonna fish late spring, early summer, for the big trout, especially around the full moons for the spawn, is the two ends of the trestle. It's a little bit shallower there. You got the very north end or the very south end. Almost all of my biggest trout off the actual trestle in my day has came from the two corners, north and south end. And today we're staying on the north end, and I'm using what every Louisiana angler knows is one of the best big trout baits in that spring, early summertime, a croaker. And that's our closest bait to a croaker. That's the Croaker X-Shad, as speckled trout, especially the big females, the big spawners, they love to eat croakers. And we're fishing an area where we have the chance at like a 5-pounder, 4 or 5-pounder, maybe a 6-pounder, a lot of 2s and 3s in here. And that's one of their primary sources of food, is the croaker. And we're just simply pitching this X-Shad up towards the bridge, and it's a little bit shallower on these corners as we went over in some of the previous episodes. And with a lot of the high rivers we've been dealing with this year, you might get a patch of clean water on the north end when the rest of the lake's dirty. You might get a patch of clean water in the south end when the rest of the lake's dirty on the north. Just kind of depends on where that river water is getting stuck at. Right now we're just grinding the north end, but we're on some really, really, really nice trout right now. Let's see if we can get a few more hammers in the boat. Get up here. Snap that one. Kind of snagged that one a little bit. A lot of times those fish will hover. I'm popping that lure, they come check it out, and when I jig it, it jugs them right in the belly. I was a victim of that, but nevertheless, it's another way to get them in the boat. All right, so what I like to focus on when I'm fishing for these big spawning trout in the late spring is I like hard incoming tides. And what amplifies a tide, especially an incoming, is a hard east wind, which is what we have right now. Now, this is breezier than I like to fish in, as it's turbulent, going from point A to point B is choppy. But what it does, I like to come in the afternoons. Typically that's when your late spring and summertime tides are on the incoming, is in the afternoons. And that breeze, that east breeze, helps push that tide in faster and faster. And I've just always found in that late spring, when you're targeting these big trout on the trestle, that hard incoming tides is definitely the way to go. And that's what we have right now. So when you're at the max velocity of a tide and the wind's coming out the east, it's gonna make it go even faster. It's a very subtle bite too. You would think these big old trout were hammering it, but that's what Pontchartrain's known for, is these very, very soft bites. And that's why anglers have such a difficult time in this lake. It's because it is so hard to feel a bite. But there's another 2.5 pounder right there. Let me see if I can get another one while we're talking about it. But I'm wanting to pitch that lure. Oh my gosh, it's starting to bite a little bit. Missing them's just part of the journey. That don't necessarily mean you're doing anything wrong. Sometimes you just miss a lot. Sometimes I don't miss any. But I'm just trying to pitch that lure right on the foot of those pilings. I didn't even feel that one bite it. I went to jig it. Felt some heavy weight. Another male right here. Another male. That's the good eating size right there. How Simba? Tell him. Tell him, Simba. Get him. Get him, Simba. Get him. There you go. Simba loves getting a little nibble. Oh, bud. Oh, bud. Yeah, man. Nice one for the box. It's not only the big trout that like the croakers. The males will eat it too. The males will eat it too, but we did make this bait. This is what we made this in the idea of catching big ones and big female trout that like eating croakers. That's another very, very common thing for this north end of the bridge. Now, my favorite time of the year to fish flounder is probably October, September, October. And if you're ever wanting to target big flounder, this is just a regular size one, but big flounder, the west side of this trestle, September, October, November, close to the North Shore, it's hard to beat it anywhere in Louisiana. Yeah, baby. They get mighty, mighty active this time of year. When I get into that late spring, I get so many of these beautiful trout. Oh, they'll come not only just shaking their head, showing off that yellow mouth, but they'll come flying out the water like a tarpon. I don't know what it is about that spawning season, that late spring, early summer, but boy, these fish get super active when they got a hook in their mouth. All right, guys, we can go ahead and end it on this male trout right here. Got plenty of big, beautiful females, caught some good eating size males. It's just really, really good. We've had a great year catching speckled trout in the Pontchartrain Basin, and as we get into the latter part of the spring, it's still pretty good. Hopefully it don't get too hot or too much fresh water, too many high rivers. Hopefully we can keep catching these fish throughout the summer. But I know we shot a lot of trestle videos this year, but this has been the most productive place, and this is a good area if you're looking for a real big one. And the thing to do to avoid boats is come out in the afternoons when that tide's screaming in and target some big trout. So make sure to subscribe to the monthly bait box. Get our absolute best bait, in my opinion, there is, our Croaker X Shad. Phenomenal lure. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, guys. Hope you enjoyed this one. Until next time, good fishing.